school year.
Yes.
How was everyone's summer?
Woo! Standard.
No. All right. That sounds pretty like what you would expect for college students. I had a pretty good summer. I accidentally joined a cult. Yeah, that is true. I had this friend who was really into this group that he was going to, and he really wanted me to join. And he told me when he was trying to convince me to join, I promise it's not a cult. And if anyone has to give that warning, like it's probably a cult. And for some reason, like I went. And as soon as I got in the door, and then they closed it behind me, I was like, oh no. I'm not getting out of here. I did, and then I went to go look them up afterwards, and I found out that, in fact, sources online all agreed that that group is a cult. But that list of like official cults had a lot of things I did not know were considered cults. Like, did you know that the Amish are considered a cult?
Oh.
Yeah, which is crazy to me for a few reasons. But one of those reasons that I first learned about the Amish from that Arthur episode, like the kids' TV show Arthur. There's an Arthur episode where Buster decides he wants to become Amish, which means that was the Arthur episode where Buster joins a cult. And I was like, yeah, good for Buster. More power to him. He really wanted to churn that butter, and I was like, let him. What if there were other Arthur episodes where people joined cults? What if there's an episode that's like, Francine discovers the Church of Scientology? Or like, Binky becomes a libertarian? like what if Arthur did that? I think it would be crazy. But really, the reason that all this was so new to me is because just religion as a whole is just like something that was not a part of my life. It wasn't a part of my childhood. But like when I was a kid, I thought it should be. Like all my friends were religious, so I thought I needed to be religious too. This was like 5 years old. So like every night I thought I had to pray, but I didn't know any prayers. So I just said the Pledge of Allegiance. Because it had the word God in it. I was like, this is the closest I can get to some form of religion. And I remember the day that my parents had a talk with me to tell me that we were not, in fact, Christian. I'm like, no, you can believe in whatever you want. Like, you don't have to do this. And I was so mad. I was like, what? I gave up so many years of my life for Jesus! I'm 5 years old! This is my prime! Think of all the other things I could have been doing as a 5-year-old who was not a Christian. I could have been committing sacrilege. I could have worshipped a golden calf, like in the Bible. I live in Virginia, there are so many cows I could have worshipped, and I was stuck. Yeah, my family doesn't do the whole religion thing. And it means that there's a lot of things about religion that I like still don't get, because that's never been a part of my life. Like there are some proverbs that I don't understand. There's this thing, I think it's in the Bible, I don't know where. That's like, this is an example. Don't point out the splinter in your brother's eye if you have a plank in your own. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm, like, first of all, you should point that out. That's an emergency. He's your brother. I think you owe it to him. But also, how did you get a plank in your eye? Was it like a horrible deck building accident? What did you do to get in this position? So that's wild to me. I have another thing that I'm going to say about religion. Oh yeah, it's that people use intelligent design as like a reason that they believe that God exists. Like, no one who wasn't thinking could have put this all together. But I look at the human body and I'm like, that's stupid design. Like, who did our backs hurt like all the time? You can bite the inside of your cheek while you're eating. That's like a necessary human process. The hole where the poop comes out. And the hole that's the vagina are so close together. It's not a good idea. Why don't we have wings? There's so many design flaws. So I come to this conclusion. There's three possibilities. There is no God. There is a God, but he's stupid. Or, and I think this is the most likely, there is a God, and he hates us. He's like, these fuckers gotta die. I'm really stuck on this religion thing. Oh yeah, this is what it was. It was, I didn't grow up with religion, so now it's like science. Science is like the thing, you know? You feeling? We're all into science these days. But it's crazy to me, because like 100 years ago, not 100 years ago, a few hundred years ago, you could get burned at the stake for believing in science. And now it's like, science is the thing. If I see an article online that's like, NASA used science to prove that the moon doesn't exist, I'd be like, yeah! Yeah, I always did think that moon was a little bit suspicious. Good for science. Now we're done with religion. Now we're done with that. But I do have other things that I did. So I joined a cult over the summer, kind of. They wanted $700, so I was like, that's the thing that made me not join the cult. I also went to Disney World. Ooh. Yeah, Disney World is a lot of fun. It's a lot of walking. So my grandmother, she's my grandmother. She didn't want to do all the walking, but she said, while you're there, I've heard about Disney dollars. Can you bring me back some Disney dollars? So we were like, okay, Grandma wants one thing. We gotta get her Disney dollars. We spent the whole day going to different vendors asking them for Disney dollars, and none of them had them. So by the end of the day, we were like, oh my God, Grandma wanted one thing, and we couldn't do that. And then we go to City Hall, which is like their administrative office, and we're like, can we please get some Disney dollars? And they say, no, we don't do those anymore. Oh. Because, well, because it turns out that printing your own currency is a federal crime. Grandma asked us to commit a felony. But what I don't get most of all is that we went to all these different booths, we went to all these different vendors, and none of them told us, no, that's illegal. They just said, sorry, not here. My favorite thing about any amusement park is crane machines. I love crane machines. And I'm fully aware that you're not gonna win. It's not about that, it's not about the winning. But my dad was there watching me play these crane machines. And my dad he comes from a New York low-class background. So when he sees me play these crane machines, the Bernie Sanders comes out of him a little. He'll be playing and he'll be like, you should have gotten that stuffed minion! You had that stuffed minion! The system is rigged! The machine is rigged! Everybody deserves stuffed minions! You want stuffed minions! And then he breaks the machine and starts throwing out all the stuffed minions, and it's like, stuffed minions for everyone! Which honestly, that's better than the crane machine. Is seeing my dad do that. So those are the only interesting things that happened to me this summer, honestly. But a few summers ago, I worked at the American Shakespeare Center in Stanton, Virginia. Because where else would Shakespeare want his center than a rural town in Virginia? And it makes perfect sense. And I got sick, and I had to go to the drugstore. And drugstores are kind of the worst thing to exist. Because the people at a drugstore, the cashier, they're just seeing you at your most animalistic, basic instincts. You're I go to the cashier and I'm like, I am more than the can of Pringles and the tube of hemorrhoid cream I'm purchasing. Like, I'm culture. I listen to music. I'm a whole human. But this man is only ever going to see me in this moment. And that's a horrifying thing to me. So when I got sick, I was like, God damn it, I gotta go to a drugstore. So I went to this like rural Virginia drugstore that was old-fashioned. It was like a private institute, like it wasn't a chain. And I go in, and it was like this eerie experience because there was only one of everything on the shelf. Which apparently is like a thing in rural drugstores where you have to go up to the counter and ask, but I was still confused. So I went up, and I was like, okay, there's some backstory that's necessary for this story that I didn't give. You're gonna get to know an intimate detail about me. I have a really delicate asshole. That's like not even a joke. That's like not a punchline. It's just like not funny. But it's true. But that is necessary. So I was going because I was sick. I needed nasal spray and tissues, but I also needed some fancy hemorrhoid butt wipes. And I'm like, man, I would like to buy something, but there's only one of everything. And she just goes, we're a small store. And I'm like, I can see that, but I need a few things. And she's like, what do you need? And I'm like, tissues. She's like, okay. And I'm like, nasal spray. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, what? And she's like, what? And I'm like, I would like some butt wipes. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I want butt wipes. And she goes, ah. But she's not the one in stock, so she just turns around and she goes, Clarissa! And then Clarissa goes, what? And she goes, this girl wants butt wipes! And Clarissa goes, one more time! And then she goes, this girl needs butt wipes for her delicate asshole! So that's why you hate drugstores. I will never go back there. I will never go to Stanton, Virginia again. They all know. And now you all know too. And you know what? While we're talking about drugstores, I'm just going to talk about therapists too. Because why not just shit on the whole medical profession? Why not? I want to clarify, I don't think there's anything wrong with therapy. I think therapy is great. I encourage it. It's just that I've had a lot of bad experiences with therapy. One time when I was severely depressed, I was bitten by a therapy dog. It made it worse. I was like, man, I guess no one really loves me. There's not one person who's supposed to. So that was not great. One time I had a therapist who, this was during that period, I told her all of my sadnesses, all of my difficulties, I was telling her about how depressed I was, and she just sits there listening, and her face is like this the whole time. And at the end of this, I expect her to give me like some kind of consolation, some advice, like anything. And she goes, wow, sounds like you're really suffering. Like, is that all? Is that all I'm gonna get from you? And it was all. That's all she said. So I was not pleased with that therapist, but psychiatrists are great. Because you walk in and you're like, can I please have some drugs? And then you spend like an hour there, and by the end of it, you're like crying about something your dad said to you when you were 12. It's great. I love it. And I love this psychiatrist that I went to once because of this thing that happened. I don't want to say his name. Let's just call him Dr. Phil. I go into Dr. Phil's office, and it's about to be summer, and I'm not going to see him because I'm going away for the summer. So he's like, oh, like, I'll give you the number of my office. It might be me who picks up, or it might be my partner. He's also Dr. Hewitt. And I was like, Oh, his partner. That's so sweet, and they're both doctors. He and his husband are both doctors. It's so fun. And then he says, or as I call him, Daddy. I was like, you're the psychiatrist and I'm the patient. Okay, cool. And then I put it together that it is his practice partner who is his dad. Still, why would he say that? That doesn't make sense. Sometimes I do get like a little worried when I do these bits, because I'm like, what if these therapists, and what if Dr. Phil ends up hearing this bit? Like, what if one of these therapists comes up to me and is like, hey, like I worry that doctor-patient confidentiality is actually a two-way street, and it's supposed to go both ways. I'm like, what if one of them comes up to me and is like, hey, I heard that bit you did about me, and it was like really upsetting that you talked about Daddy like that. But luckily, I know what the perfect response is. Wow. Sounds like you're really suffering. Do I have time for one more bit? One more bit? Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna pick.
Yeah.
One more bit.
One more bit. Well, thank you. All right, this is a short one. I'm gonna leave you with the short one.
Cool.
One time I was in a theater class, and they were doing this exercise called image boxes, where you do like an evocative image. It's supposed to like be just an image that creates a lot of emotion. So like someone else in the class did like a red velvet cupcake with razors in it and like syringes, and it's bleeding and it's dramatic. And yeah, it's actually really cool. It's evocative. But it was really intense. And the teacher was like, excellent, Alex, what you got? And I was like, okay, picture this. We're on an airplane. It's a Ryanair airplane, so drinks are really expensive. Someone says, man, I'm really thirsty. Wish I could buy a drink. Then there's a thud on the outside of the airplane, and then Kool-Aid Man bursts in. Like, oh yeah!